Welcome to the What Sleep podcast, where we talk about all things crime, conspiracy, paranormal, and mystery. I'm Timothy,
I'm Bailey.
and let's get right into it.
So today's episode is actually going to be a little bit different today. And I'm actually really excited to give you guys some news,
All the news.
all the news. So what we're really trying to do for the end of October is throw in our first listener story. And if you guys want to send in any ghost stories that you have, any scary crime stories, some strange encounters, or alien stories, anything of that
I
sort.
got alien stories.
We've got alien stories. We can throw that in. I really want to put that into an episode and just have it all about you guys.
Definitely.
So, and I think that October would be a perfect time to throw in a spooky extra episode. So, we're still going to do 2 episodes every week. And what we'd like to start doing is the last Friday of every month, do a listener story. So, if you send it in, it might make it into the podcast. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And on another side note, I have been talking with somebody so that we can get a little bit of some kind of merch going out.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
So right now it's really just going to be, stickers, buttons. Working on probably getting a T-shirt of some kind.
I think a t-shirt would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Give us some rep.
So more news about that as I get it. Also, another thing is me and Bailey are talking about doing Crime Con
Yeah,
next
CrimeCon.
year if this whole COVID thing is over with.
Please go away.
So that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I think COVID, not COVID, I'm sorry. I think the COVID con.
The COVID Con.
I think CrimeCon would be a lot of fun. We can meet some people there and set up a little,
Oh yeah.
maybe set up a little table so we can record a live podcast there.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to do. So some fun, exciting things for the future.
Oh yeah. And again, just like the stickers and other merch, I'll let y'all know as I get more information about that. But stay tuned for all that.
And so I'm going to go ahead and get into the episode. I've actually got 2 smaller stories for you this time. And we'll go ahead and start with our first. All right. So my case today is on Lake Baikal. I'm sorry,
Bagel. Bagel with cheese.
Is on Lake Baikal. And Lake Baikal is located in southern Siberia, Russia. It is known as one of the world's oldest and deepest lakes, estimated to have formed 25 million years ago after a fissure opened up in the Eurasian continent. So, kind of like Pangea times. The lake is estimated to be about 5,387 feet deep, or 1,643 meters.
Okay, what is down there?
Lots of life, you know, microorganisms, fish, plant life, an ecosystem.
I mean, what kind of monsters are down there?
What do you mean?
Oh, that's deep.
And among freshwater lakes, it is the largest in terms of volume, containing roughly 5,521 cubic miles of water,
Jeez. Okay.
or 23,013 cubic kilometers.
I'm from America, so
This would make up about 20% of all of Earth's fresh surface water, just in this one lake. Just to give you an idea how big this lake is.
that's an ocean. Can't classify that as a lake.
And actually, for reference, for us Americans, the Great Lakes in America in total contain about 5,472 cubic miles of water, and it only holds 21% of Earth's fresh water source. So it's only 1% more water than just this one lake.
God.
All the Great Lakes combined are barely bigger.
There's what, 7 of them, right?
What? There's 4.
There's 4? I knew
4
that.
Great Lakes.
I was testing you.
Okay.
7's my lucky number, okay?
Uh-huh.
Just gotta throw it out there sometimes.
Lake Baikal is located near the Russian city of Irkutsk. I'm sorry, Irkutsk. All right, we're gonna look this up, and I'm gonna play it for you guys because I can't speak Russian.
Irkutsk.
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 Oh,
Ir-
Irkutsk.
Irkutsk.
Irkutsk. Irkutsk.
Irkutsk. So, that is a hard word. All right.
Irkutsk.
Exactly. The lake is used as a power source by the city with the construction of a dam, raising the water level by over a meter. It's heralded as a Siberian miracle, a pearl of the Soviet water power engineering. Many creatures thrive on the lake's ecosystem as well due to its massive levels of dissolved oxygen that seep right down to the lake floor.
Ooh.
So it's
I know
huge.
there's lots of good plants down there,
Oh,
man.
I mean, there are more than actually 2,500 species of plants and animals that live in this lake, uh, and most of these are actually species that are found nowhere else in the world,
Ooh.
and it's all in this one lake.
For those who don't know, I like aquariums, so this is
I thought,
interesting to me.
yeah, I thought that'd be fun for you. Scientists believe that up to 40% of these lake species haven't even been discovered yet.
Lit. Okay.
Yeah, so
Let's go and discover some fish.
some fish, some plants,
Yeah, we can name them weird things.
English things.
English things in Russian territory.
There actually some species are believed to have evolved over the past tens of thousand years. Some down there are mostly believed to be evolved over millions of years.
Yeah,
And
typical evolution type time period.
yeah. For the past few decades, scientists and astronauts observing Lake Baikal have noticed. I'm sorry, it's Baikal. I keep saying Baikal. That's what I think it is.
Russian is hard.
For the past few decades, scientists and astronauts have been observing Lake Baikal and have noticed giant rings forming in the ice.
Oh.
Russian researchers first spotted them in satellite images in the early 2000s, and in 2009, astronauts on the ISS photographed two massive ice rings, beginning a phenomenon of mystery and fascination. Data and research on the rings have given some explanation to the strange occurrence. A hydrologist at the University of Toulouse, his name is Alexei, I'm sorry, Kurev.
Karav? I don't know.
Alexei Kurov explains that warm circular currents called eddies could be the cause. The eddies circulate in a clockwise direction under the ice, and the center of which is still a lot colder than the actual currents.
Completely irrelevant note, but Cyberpunk is coming out soon, and the currency in that game are called eddies.
Apparently, water currency. Get it? Water currency. Oh my, we solved it.
They're actually from
Russia?
57 years in the future.
Maybe.
It's a
We'll find
portal.
out. We'll find out.
Oh my god.
So yeah, the currents are theorized. They're pretty much just like warm water currents, and still in the middle of these water currents because they're circular is still really cold. So when it rises to the top, it
that
creates
makes sense.
just a melted ring of ice. So that's a really promising theory. Obviously, that would be an explanation. Another theory presented reads that gas hydrates may be the cause. An ice like form of methane found at the bottom of the lake could be making its way to the top to form the rings. So, another scientific theory. For centuries, Lake Baikal has been home to many unexplained phenomena, however.
Aliens.
Locals claim countless peculiar UFO encounters in this region, and some theorize that an extraterrestrial base is hidden beneath the ice.
Ooh.
During a routine Soviet military training dive in 1982, Navy personnel noticed humanoid anomalous figures swimming nearby.
Seals, maybe?
Humanoid, though. Like
mean-
bipedal.
Well, were they in the water and they saw them, or were like they
Yeah.
above the water and just saw the shadows?
No, it was a swimming team. They were in the lake.
Well, just because they're a swimming team doesn't mean they're swimming at all times.
I mean, you got me there. But in this account, they were.
And like back in the olden days, sailors used to think manatees were mermaids.
Aren't they? They're beautiful.
They are. They are the sea cow.
I love. They watched in shock as several of these creatures approached them. Despite the depth they were in, of over 160 feet, it was noted that the creatures wore no modern equipment. They were described to be wearing tight-fitting metallic suits with a helmet-like apparatus covering their heads. The divers noticed the creatures were nearly 10 feet tall.
It's the Cyclops and SpongeBob.
I don't remember the Cyclops and
That
Sunj.
big diver dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
With the big green eye.
yeah. I remember that.
Eye.
The Cyclops.
Yeah.
That took me back a little bit. I forgot about that guy.
I watched that not too long ago.
Soon the creatures disappeared back into the depths. Later, the commander of this team ordered his troop to capture one of the creatures. 7 divers entered the lake and navigated through cold and murky water as multiple of these creatures emerged again and approached them. Using a large net, which I find entirely comical, just a huge net to catch a 10-foot humanoid being, sure.
I mean, what else are they gonna do?
I don't know, invite them to the top.
I got
Be
tweets, boy. Come
hospitable. Be hospitable. You don't know how smart these guys are. They have helmets and metallic suit of armor.
I mean, yeah, they could also be super hostile.
They weren't last time.
Well,
They approached them and then turned around.
they're
You
like,
know?
we're gonna kill you later.
What?
You never know.
I mean, you don't. So yeah, using a large net, the divers attempted to capture one of the creatures, an act of which set off anger for the group of mysterious humanoids. The creatures began to fight back, and reportedly they shot off intense sonar waves from quote-unquote strange devices. One of the crew members fell unconscious, after which the rest of the crew ceased their capture efforts and rapidly brought the unconscious crew member back to the surface. And this actually caused 3 of the members to suffer from something called the bends. Do you know what the
Ooh,
bends is?
yeah, it's when you rise too quickly and then like I forget exactly what happens. Doesn't it have something to do with like the oxygen in your blood?
Yeah.
Like essentially just like ruins you.
Yeah. So,
I think you remember that old show, A Thousand Ways to Die?
yeah.
There's actually one on there where a diver did that, and they had to like get put in like this special pressurized
Yeah,
chamber,
decompression. Yeah.
right? And I forgot what happened, but I think the person who was essentially like overseeing it forgot to do something specific,
Uh-huh.
and it caused the pressure to rise, which then caused the person inside who had the bends to essentially just pop like a bubble.
Dang. Can
It
you
was
imagine?
wild.
That's horrifying. I
Yeah.
hate that. That'd be
I
a
missed that show.
really awful way to go. I think it's still airing, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I feel like it
they've
has to
reached
be.
1,000 by this point.
Two for 2,000. Let's go.
Okay, 2020. 2020
I mean,
ways
you
to
may as well.
die.
If we found a new way to die, we found many new ways to die. Murder hornets, corona. So 3 divers were not able to get adequate help to treat their affliction, and subsequently, all 3 of them died as a result. And any of the surviving members, so again, there were 7, so 4 of them actually survived, but they all had some extreme disabilities after the dive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Following the incident, KGB agents ceased any further attempts of capturing the USO or unidentified submerged object. For decades, the events to that day were hidden. It wasn't until recently declassified documents were released to the public and the rest of the world learned of the strange incident, or of the strange lake people. Navy commanders began making numerous underwater vehicles and
When did this take place? Because I know like around the 60s is when they really started making like things that could dive really far down. Because they were
right.
trying to explore the Marianas Trench.
Man, good on
Which,
them.
whew,
Yeah, no,
whew.
absolutely not.
I've heard some stories which I might get into in one of these episodes,
Yeah.
but
First of many.
wow.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that happen to the people who go down there.
I don't know about any of that, and I don't know if I want to know because it's terrifying. Deep water, what's down there?
Lots of different species actually. I know back in the day they were like, there's no way nothing can live down there. There's absolutely no light. That was when, we were in the mindset of if there's no light, nothing can
Right.
survive, right?
We've learned.
And we eventually went down there. That's when we found like anglerfish, all those really weird glowing
Yeah.
jellyfish things.
Yeah.
And
I mean, most things I think are technically blind down there because again, there's no
yeah,
light,
there's no way
so
to
they kind of
see.
use either like sonar or like beluga whales. Those aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting stories with that.
Yeah, I'm terrified to hear it.
Maybe we'll get on that for Halloween.
Yeah,
Just because
maybe.
I know some people are really afraid of deep water.
It's a fear. I don't remember what it's called, but
I don't know.
I'm not good with it. Navy commanders began monitoring numerous underwater vehicles that began to make themselves known in this lake. During the 1950s, a TY-104 jet crashed into the lake after it was pursued by an unknown metallic vehicle. The pilot radioed a message to air traffic controllers informing them of the attack.
It literally is aliens. Come on now.
I mean,
100% convinced
maybe.
me.
There's more that goes on around here too. There's a lot more, but I really wanted to focus on the lake people, so it's something we can go back to, Siberian aliens.
Oh my god. The was that the Dyatlov Pass?
Dyatlov?
Dyatlov Pass incident?
Dyatlov, yeah. That's
Yo.
terrifying.
Another
Yeah.
episode, maybe.
I was thinking about that one, but I kind of want to hold off on that one for a little bit. Personally, you can do whatever you want, obviously, but like that one's insane. It makes me feel weird.
That was actually the very first thing that got me into true crime was that
Oh, really?
that whole
The Dyatlov
thing.
Pass, yeah.
Yeah. It was just so interesting. I was
It's
like,
scary.
what in the world?
Because we still don't know what happened.
I know.
According to informants, all staff on duty at the time were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, and though numerous fishermen in the area did attest to witnessing the attack. They described a silver flying saucer chasing the plane until it plummeted into the water. Despite this, no physical evidence or reports have ever been disclosed to the public.
It's
So they're
because
keeping
their
it-
spacecrafts are specifically designed to dissolve in water. So that way there's never any evidence.
Well, it's mostly whatever they found has been NDO'd or NDA'd, and they're not going to release it to the public.
Lame. Let us bask in the glory of aliens.
We know they're there.
I'm just kidding. There'd be so much panic if that ever got announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's aliens.
I mean, what's
Everyone
going to
would
change?
freak out.
Nothing's going to change. I mean, most of us know, obviously, it'd be very selfish of us to think that we're alone. There's aliens out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I 100% believe in them, but if you look at the way people think nowadays, that would just cause mass hysteria and all that.
It really would.
And that'd just be one big.
I mean, it's 2020.
Disaster.
Whatever, at this point.
At this point, they might as well just come down and just say hi. Which that whole thing in New Jersey, by the way, that y'all were telling me was a Goodyear balloon.
A blimp?
Yeah, no. It looked nothing like that.
I think it was confirmed. I think it was confirmed that it was a
But
blimp.
it looked nothing like that balloon. It had like a blue circular light at the bottom, and it was practically flat almost.
I have no idea. I've seen pictures of all angles. It looks like a UFO.
That's
There's
what I'm
there's
saying.
some other pictures. It looks like a blimp. So I think it's aliens.
I want to believe it's aliens.
I do believe it's aliens.
Because I've actually seen a UFO. I'm saying that again. I have. I promise. Ooh, I just got a good idea. Completely off topic.
Uh-huh.
From what we were just talking about.
Uh-huh.
We need to do an episode inside the jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be terrifying.
Wouldn't that be amazing though?
Ugh, no.
Just do like a whole rent out thing and go in there at night and then just like sit there and do a whole podcast episode about the jail while we're sitting in it.
How much do you think that costs?
I don't know.
I'm terrified. I mean, if you guys are interested in us doing like a live recording, like an on-scene recording, that'd be insane.
That would be lit.
That would be insane. We'll bring. Oh, we got to bring a spirit box. The white noise thing.
Yeah.
I would honestly
probably run away.
I would honestly probably throw up, pass out, and you'd have to drag me out.
Dude, that'd be amazing though.
It would be, but I'm telling you, you're gonna have to drag me out for Halloween.
Yeah.
In April of 2009, astronauts aboard the ISS photographed 2 circular breaks in the ice, thought to be produced by enormous aquatic crafts. The 2 disc-shaped cracks were perfectly symmetrical and 3 miles in diameter.
Jeez.
So, huge. Another strange event in 2011 reported an alien body being discovered. Footage shows one resident moving with a cameraman towards a forested area. On a snowy ground lay a small, unknown extraterrestrial. It had a large head, an opaque gray body, and dark eyes staring straight ahead. It appeared to have had its leg ripped off.
Ow.
Weeks before the discovery, villagers reported disc-like objects flying through the sky. Viewers of the video suspect real evidence of ET life, though others believe this to be a very well-made crafted hoax. And it was actually later debunked, this
Okay.
extraterrestrial body was actually debunked as an investigation of the corpse turned out that it was made from bread.
What? Oh, okay.
And that's the story of Lake Baikal. There's not much other information on it, but
How? Okay. How do you how do you mistake a body for just a lot of bread?
it's just a body made of a lot of bread. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
This is the picture of the alien that was found in the forest. And there's a video of
How do
them
you
walking
make
up.
that out of bread?
So it looks like it's a snow-covered ground, and I mean,
It's like
first glance at it,
gray. It could be mold, but it's like gray, and then it has like tones of brown. Like he just
yeah.
got frostbite.
So you see that one of his arms are actually ripped off here. So I mean, it's a dead object, be it bread, be it an alien, but it's just kind of laying in the snow with its head upturned, and pretty much what you would
Like I
expect.
can see now why
Right. I
people
mean,
thought
first,
it was like an alien that
yeah,
died. So it
first
looks exactly like it.
first look at him, you're pretty much
But
like.
bread, dang. Okay.
And here's the picture of Lake Baikal, the rings that were reported. So they were saying,
Yeah.
they're huge rings, and they were saying that these currents were rising to the surface, or pockets of methane were rising to the surface, just causing breaks in the ice like this to
It kind
melt.
of looks like that picture of the
So
black hole.
the black hole, where what?
You finally got like an actual picture of an actual black hole.
Oh,
Have you not seen that?
I think I have. I think you posted or
Oh
sent
yeah,
it to
I've
me.
probably shown you. But it's like that red ring. I'm still baffled as to how someone made this body out of bread and managed to convince so many people that an alien died.
It was a big
And it looks
thing.
so
It was
real.
2011, yeah. I think I remember it when that happened. Everybody was freaking out, and then they were like, "Yeah, it's just bread."
Or so they say.
I mean, that's what their government says.
It probably was an alien body, and they're
Very
just like they couldn't come up with
suspicious.
something. It's like we can't say it's a weather balloon.
Right.
It's
Very
bread.
suspicious it happens around a lake that has so much, phenomena happening around it, and some weird underwater base.
Yeah, like come on. Talk about 10-foot tall people that
Right.
seem to have like futuristic suits of some
Right.
kind.
It's scary. I don't know, man. I believe they're here. The second case that I'm going to bring up is the case of Gloria Ramirez. Gloria Ramirez was born January 11th in 1963 in Riverside, California. She lived her life in Riverside with her husband and two children. Those who knew her called her a friend to everyone she met and a jokester who brought joy to everyone around her. She'd actually been diagnosed with cervical cancer and had been experiencing a lot of pain for a while. Her body was weak.
This sounds familiar.
It's that Gloria Ramirez, the toxic woman.
Hmm,
It's an interesting case. You might have heard of it.
maybe. Like the name sounds familiar, but I could just be thinking of it somewhere else.
Maybe. So her body weak, one evening she reported having extreme heart palpitations and was rushed to the emergency room. On February 19th of 1994 at 8:15, Gloria Ramirez arrived at the Riverside General Hospital emergency department. She was extremely confused and not coherent. Gloria was physically very weak and her blood pressure was lowering rapidly. The medical staff that was present injected her with diazepam, um, midazolam, and lorazepam.
Don't know what any of that is.
They're sedatives, and
Okay.
they're
So are they
there
pretty much
to
like inducing a coma on her?
not a coma, just trying to sedate her for a little bit because all the treatments they were giving her, she was reacting very badly to.
Oh,
Like her
okay.
blood pressure was lowering very quickly, which is super dangerous.
Chill
And
out. Just
yeah, they were just trying to get her to relax and sedate her. And again, it quickly became very clear that Gloria was responding poorly to treatment, and the staff began using a bag valve mask, so like the
yeah.
green pump that they put over your mouth, just to give her some air. And they attempted to defibrillate her heart because, again, her blood pressure was lowering very rapidly. Several witnesses claimed to have seen an oily sheen covering Gloria's body and noticed a fruity garlic like odor coming from her mouth.
What?
A nurse named Susan Kane attempted to draw blood from her arm and noticed an ammonia like smell coming from the tube, so from her blood. She passed the syringe to a medical resident named Gorchinsky, I believe, who noticed the blood had like manila covered colored particles inside. So like just tiny little flecks of just manila colored things in her blood. Very strange.
Doesn't sound very healthy.
No. So obviously they were very concerned.
Why is it spicy?
No. So it was at this point that the first nurse, Nurse Kane, fainted and she was actually removed from the room. Shortly after, Gorchinsky, the second nurse, began to feel nauseous and lightheaded, and she left the room to sit down. After being asked by another staff member if she was okay, uh, Gorchinsky actually fainted too. So that's two nurses that fainted after treating Miss Gloria Ramirez.
Well, I know the smell of ammonia like really messes with people. And they said they smelt ammonia whenever they were taking blood out of her.
Yeah, so her blood gave off an ammonia smell, and they noticed like all these weird things about her. Like there was the garlic
So-
smell, the fruit smell. She had a greasy sheen around her body. There was a respiratory therapist that was assisting them in the trauma room, and her name was Maureen Welch. She was actually the third member of the team to pass out following Gloria's arrival.
Wow.
When Maureen came back to consciousness, she reported not having any control over her legs, as if she were paralyzed. After this, the entire room was ordered to evacuate to the parking lot, as well as the rest of the emergency department, including all the patients in the emergency department.
Jeez.
And so, in all, 23 people became ill and 5 were hospitalized after Gloria's arrival, which is insane.
She literally just like wiped out a hospital room.
Yeah,
Or
basically.
floor, really.
The department, I don't know how big it is. But yeah, a whole department was ordered to evacuate.
Ooh, boy, what did you do, Gloria?
Right. So only 45 minutes after Gloria's arrival at 8:50 p.m., after CPR and defibrillation were performed on her, Miss Ramirez was pronounced dead from kidney failure relating to her cancer. Experts came in to clean and assess the room for any sign of chemicals or anything that could explain the reactions to the staff, though nothing of note was ever found. The county health department called California's Department of Health and Human Services to investigate the mysterious circumstances surrounding Gloria's death. Dr. Anna Maria Osario and Dr. Kirsten Waller were assigned to the case. They interviewed 34 hospital staff who had been working in the emergency department, and using a questionnaire, Osario and Waller found that the people who had developed severe symptoms such as loss of consciousness, shortness of breath, and muscle spasms had certain things in common. Those who worked within 2 feet of Ramirez and handled her intravenous lines were at high risk, though other factors that correlated with the severe symptoms did not appear to match a scenario in which fumes had been released. So they found that it wasn't likely it was from any fumes that they were potentially breathing in. So,
But what's with all the weird smells?
right.
Like usually smells indicate, hey, something's
Yeah,
really wrong.
Something's going on. The survey found that those afflicted tended to be women rather than men, and all of their blood tests had come back normal after the exposure. It was in their opinion that those afflicted were suffering from mass hysteria. So they were pulling all this information together, trying to find some correlating fact, but nothing was wrong with their bloodstream. Like they had all of their blood tested, everything came back perfectly normal. There were both men and women that had passed out or been affected by this, but they found that it was mostly women, so they chalked it up to mass hysteria, which is,
Wow, just
Yeah.
it's only women.
it's a quick band-aid solution for,
Okay. No, that's not.
So some interesting facts about mass hysteria to kind of give light onto why they thought this. Mass hysteria is the rapid spread of illness signs and symptoms affecting the members of a cohesive group, originating from a nervous system disturbance involving excitation, loss, or alteration of function, whereby physical complaints are there exhibited unconsciously and have no corresponding organic cause, which is a definition. So
That's a lot of
yeah.
words.
So some cases of mass hysteria have actually been researched, and my favorite one that I wanted to include was the dancing manias of the Middle Ages. Have you heard of those?
Oh yeah, is it where like all of a sudden these people just dance nonstop for
Yep.
no reason.
Some of them till they died, they just
Yeah, they would just dance
kept
till they
dancing.
died. Wow.
All
Okay.
across all across Europe during the 17th century, people were witnessed to have stopped whatever they were doing, wherever they were, just to dance, and they would not stop dancing.
It's them chemtrails, I tell you.
One case was documented in 1278 where a group of around 200 people began dancing on a bridge over the river, I'm sorry, Meuse
Niche.
in France,
Ah, okay.
resulting in the bridge's collapse.
Mm.
Other outbreaks of similar nature were reported in England, Germany, and the Netherlands. So, just a fun fact I wanted to throw in there about mass hysteria because
Wild.
it's great. It's crazy. Very weird.
But usually it involves people doing something, not all passing out
I mean,
and
sometimes
right? Like I feel like it would just kind of make you do weird things, not like pass out and then
great.
lose can like make you feel paralyzed essentially.
That's actually I think one of the uh symptoms of what was it? I think we'll get into it. I think I wrote it down, but one of the symptoms of mass hysteria is feeling of paralysis in your legs or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah, it's weird. Uh, Gorchinsky denied that she had been afflicted by mass hysteria, though, and she actually used her medical history as evidence against this. She spent 2 weeks in the ICU with breathing problems after this and developed hepatitis and avascular necrosis in her knees. Avascular necrosis is a condition that causes deterioration of bone tissue due to the interruption of blood supply.
And that
So,
just suddenly appeared after this whole
right,
incident.
this is one of the first physical pieces of evidence that something actually happened. And there's really
Okay.
I mean,
Um
there are some causes of this, and some of the causes of the condition are high doses of steroids, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and organ transplants. But she hadn't had any of this, and she gave her medical history to prove that there's just no reason that she would have developed. Uh,
it had to be something that okay, so at first skin was all oily, right?
okay.
And she was producing these weird smells, like the fruity and then
Mm-hmm.
garlicky things out of the mouth
And
or
then
whatever, and
ammonia,
then the blood
yeah.
was like ammonia and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be something going on inside
Right.
Garcia that was
Well, remember she
Garcia or
had Ramirez,
Ramirez. Sorry.
Gloria Ramirez, yeah. But you remember she had cervical cancer, so some people think that there was still like radiation in her body for her
Did she get
chemo
that like removed or
treatments.
something, or
What?
the cancer?
No, she was still suffering from it.
Okay, so
So they're
okay,
thinking that like leftover radiation or something
that's
from
just
her
not how it
treatments.
works.
It's not
But
how it works, but that's a theory that people like to come up with. And again, if you'll remember, all of the affected group had their blood tested and everything came back just fine with the test. So
yeah,
even that showed that there was nothing wrong with her. She eventually filed a lawsuit against the hospital in the coroner's office for $6 million in damage, though I couldn't really find if she won the suit or not.
I hope so. They
So
try to deface her like that.
the Riverside coroner's office contacted Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory to investigate the incident, and the lab concluded that Ramirez had been using dimethyl sulfoxide, or DMSO. And DMSO is a solvent used as a powerful degreaser in the industrial industry. Though later research in the mid 20th century has explored its use as a home remedy for pain.
Okay, so did she like consume large quantities of that?
So it's
That would explain the oily sheen to her.
yeah, it's like a topical. They've come up with a solution to make it a topical like ointment for
Hmm.
like what's the red inflammation.
Hmm.
So
So that would explain the oily
mhm,
sheen,
yep.
but as far as the smells,
Well, the solvent is sometimes used and known to reduce inflammation and soreness, though temporarily. She may have been using this to treat her cancer symptoms, and users of the substance report a garlic-like taste as well. So that could explain the garlic and the
so yeah,
greasy.
she probably used it to do all that, and then because she had the cancer, she's probably like, "Hey, let's see what happens if I drink it."
No, I don't think she drank it. I think that that's just something that I mean, it could have been something she ate too.
Yeah,
It's
fair
just a
enough.
garlicky smell. And it could have been coming from her skin too,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true.
So Some believe this could also explain as we said, the oily appearance reported of Gloria. Scientists theorize that DMSO could be the reason that Gloria also died of kidney failure. The particles found in her blood was also theorized to be caused by oxygen administered to her to have reacted to the DMSO, which is known to cause
Oh, that
crystals.
could be okay.
Yeah, so that could be what was floating around in her blood. Finally, the administration of electric shocks to Gloria's body is theorized to have caused the DMSO to be converted into a toxic gas of sulfuric acid, exposure of which could have caused the reported symptoms of the staph. Though none of this is actually confirmed, it's just kind of theorized. Some of it does explain,
So far, it makes the most
right.
sense.
Another theory that was proposed by the New Times LA, and you're gonna love this one.
Oh boy.
That Gloria could have been exposed to the precursor chemical methylamine, which is used in the production of methamphetamine. It is reported that Riverside County is one of the largest meth distributors in the US, and it is theorized that the hospital workers were smuggling in the chemicals via IV bags for production. One of these IV bags could have been mistakenly given to Gloria, explaining the smell of ammonia in her body that was giving off. The staff that investigated the hospital, however, did not report any evidence of the meth lab or any of the aforementioned chemicals in IV bags. So that's one theory.
No. What is this, Breaking
Which
Bad?
is, yeah,
No.
right? It's insane, but that was proposed by the New Times of LA.
Yeah, they're just
That's
pulling
more
at
of a
straws right there.
media storm that they were
What
trying
is
to
it?
brew.
One little writer was just like,
It's meth.
let's be different. It's meth. This is the meth capital of the
Can
world.
you imagine accusing an entire hospital of a meth lab
Honestly,
in their basement and smuggling it into IV bags? I mean,
Like-
anything's possible,
I mean,
but
yeah, it's probably like it's possible. Like I'm not
Right.
gonna say that it won't happen or that it's not happening. But I feel
Right.
if anything hospitals are doing wrong is that they're essentially just putting drugs out into the streets for profit.
yeah, with their prescriptions, but
Yeah, like all like the, Molly Percocets.
So her body was closely looked at and tested, though other than the prescribed medication and the home remedy DMSO present, there was nothing of note to explain what happened. On April 29th, a press conference was held to discuss the results of Gloria's autopsy. They revealed that Gloria had died of cardiac dysrhythmia triggered by a kidney failure stemming from her cancer. None of this, however, could explain the effects on the hospital staff. So they did determine a cause of death, but none of the determined causes could cause what happened to the staff. So that went
Yeah, so far it's just that main theory, like the first one you mentioned.
Yeah,
like
the DMSO.
Yeah, that just seems the most
Yeah.
logical and
But just a theory at this
relevant. It's still just a theory. So I assume this hasn't been solved at all.
I mean, other than her death, like they know how she died, but it's unsolved what happened to the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 months after Gloria's death, her badly decomposed body was finally released for independent autopsy and burial. The coroner's office concluded that Livermore Labs' DMSO theory was the probable cause of the hospital staff's symptoms, though Gloria's family entirely disagrees. The Ramirez family's pathologist was unable to determine the cause of death because her heart was missing and her other organs were contaminated and her body was too decomposed to perform a decent autopsy. And she was finally buried on April 20th of 1994. So her cause of death obviously was a kidney failure, and it's not like legally, it's not like confirmed as the cause, but everybody pretty much just goes with the DMSO theory. So it's a mystery.
So why was her heart missing?
Because they performed the first the laboratory performed the first. I'm sorry. The first coroner's office performed that autopsy, and whenever
okay.
they do an autopsy, they do remove them. They remove the organs. So I guess they just didn't put them back. Because
Yeah.
normally what they do is they bag them up and then place them inside the body before sending it off to be buried. But
and then why is it that it took them 2 months to be like, all right, now y'all can do it?
I don't know.
After the body was
Yeah.
starting to completely decompose.
I guess maybe they were trying to run tests or something. I don't know, but they had it
Seems
for
a little sus.
Right. They had it for a little too long before her family was able to get her autopsied by one of their,
Yeah.
preferred, I think,
Mm.
pathologists or whatever. But that is the story of Gloria Ramirez, and very strange,
Craziness.
very strange. So if you liked those stories, please leave a like and subscribe. Our podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And if you want to see any pictures or stay up to date on any of our news and new episodes, you can follow us on Twitter at What Sleep Pod. You can follow us on Instagram for those pictures at What Sleep Podcast. We have a subreddit called What Sleep Podcast, and Facebook at What Sleep Podcast. And we do update on all of our social medias, so you can follow us anywhere there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we sure will. Bye.
Bye.